Morning, ladies. How are you? Welcome to today's training on how to elevate your business. So what we're going to have a look at today is how you actually accelerate your results. And I want to start off by saying, sorry, I am a smidgen bit late. Zoom didn't want to connect to Facebook for some reason. We're having a moment. And if you can hear the pitter patter, that is my dog running around. So you're very welcome to today's training I know we've so many new people here in this group. So I want to start off by introducing myself. So I'm Joanna Holleran, and I am a business success coach for female entrepreneurs who want to build momentum in their business to be able to see accelerated results. And I teach this because this is what I've done and what I've learned over the last couple of years, that there are certain activities that when you do them and when you accelerate them, you see incredible momentum within your business. And I'm not a fan of consistently live launching because I think it's very draining. And for any of us that have families and, have other things that we want to be able to prioritize as well as our business, if you're constantly launching, there's a huge amount of energy that goes into it. Yes, a lot of it you can create as rinse and repeat, but if you're launching all the time, it is tiring because you've got to show up in a different energy. So that is what I teach people to do. And before we go any further, there's two things that I want to share with you. I have a live event coming up on Sunday called Women Driven to Succeed, which is very ample given the name of the group. And I've brought together some incredible female entrepreneurs that I feel very blessed to have in my life, and to know them personally. And some of them I've seen their businesses grow, others I've got to meet them along my business journey. So all of them are coming together on Sunday to be able to show you the strategies that are required to actually create 6 and 7 figures within your business. So if you haven't got access yet, I'm going to put the link under this live, and make sure that you click it and share it with any of your friends that either are on their entrepreneurial journey or want to start their entrepreneurial journey, because there's some mindset stuff in there, and then how you look after yourself when you're building your business, and then where do you get to focus on in order to be able to have the growth that you want. So it's a 1-day live. It isn't in this Facebook group, so you do have to get access to it because it'll be live on Zoom, and it is 4 hours of just training, which is incredible, absolutely incredible. The second thing then is I have opened up 2 one-to-one spots because I've been getting a lot of messages lately to book calls. So I don't take on one-to-one clients that often. And when I do, they're with me for a long period of time. So I've opened up 2 spots, and then that will be it. After this, then there will be a waiting list depending on whether or not the rest of the clients finish. But if they do, then there'll be 6 months of a waiting list. If they don't, it'll be longer than that. So just putting that on your radar now. So message me directly and we can have a chat about it. And yeah, let's get into today's training. So today's training, we're going to have a look at how do you actually accelerate your results. So to accelerate your results, you first of all have got to get clear on, well, what are the results that you want to create? And what I have found is that when people come to me, right, the first thing that they always look at is, well, how do I generate more sales? Which is great. But to generate more sales, you've got to go back, right? So go back a bit. Where do you want the sales to come from? Do you have an audience to sell to? Do you have a program or product? What is it? Because if you just want to generate more sales, but you haven't worked on the back end stuff, it's going to be challenging to be able to generate the sales. And the one thing that I've learned in business is if you try and master everything all at once, you're going to struggle to master anything. I learned that the hard way. So how do you actually go about accelerating your results? We're going to break this down. The first thing you get to do is go, okay, what results do I want in each section of my business? And if you don't know what each section of your business is, start there. Who's your audience? Where do you want to hold your audience? And anybody that is listening to this, I want you to hear this. Social media is not where you want to hold your audience, because social media can go down at any stage. You want to hold your audience on an email list. So yes, you can use your social media to bring people to your email list, but you want to hold them in your email list. So what kind of numbers are you looking to generate there? Then how often are you launching, right? So how often are you sharing your product? You do not want to be in sales mode all the time. That just is icky, right? So think about it. If somebody is constantly selling, it's really frustrating, right? Versus if somebody is constantly giving value, you want to learn from them. So know how often you want to be able to sell. Now, if you're selling a product, of course, that's very, very different, because products are always accessible. But from a service point of view, if you're a coach, you don't want to be sharing that every single solitary time that your offers want to be consistent of different things. And then how many sales do you want to be able to generate, and in what time frame do you want to be able to generate them? So you want to break them down like that. Now that's in a very, very simple nutshell. Obviously within that then is more content, but that is where you want to break it down. So let's break down how you accelerate your results in each of those areas, because you can. And I'm going to preface this by saying, don't wing anything. Please don't wing anything. Plan out what your year is going to look like. Even if you're new to business, plan out what your year is going to look like. Even if you're in the corporate world and you're looking to transition out into your business full time, plan what your year is going to look like. What are you creating in every quarter of the year? How much are you looking to increase your audience by? What do you want your engagement rates to be? What do you want to, or when do you want to be able to do launches? And then how many sales do you want to be able to make? So break them down into each quarter of the year and know what it is that you're striving for so that you can focus on it. If you're focusing on everything at once, your focus is going to go all over the place and you're not going to get the results that you want, because you're just going to be running from one to the other, and you're going to be in getting energy. And when you're in getting energy, you get nothing. I think about when we were a child, I don't know if you heard it, but I would have, is that like, get or wanting gets nothing. You've got to be able to focus and take the action on where you're at to be able to generate the results that you want. So let's go back to the start. To accelerate your results, you've got to start off by having a warm audience to be able to sell to. Okay, first and foremost, you have got to do that. On average, it takes anywhere between 8 and 14 touch points with a person before they are willing to consider buying from you. So think about that. If you have to have that many touch points with somebody, you cannot guarantee that they're ever going to see a post that you put up. You cannot guarantee that they're ever going to see a live that you do. You cannot guarantee that they're ever going to see a story or an email or whatever it is that you put out there. You can't guarantee that they're ever going to see that. So if it takes on average between 8 and 14 touch points to be able to generate a sale with somebody, or for them to be open for an offer, think about how many times you need to be visible with them. It's quite a lot, right? So to accelerate your results, this is why you've got to focus on an activity. So every quarter I have focuses, right? I have times where I focus on audience generation. I have times where I focus on nurturing, and I have times where I focus on selling. And how I show up is very different because my energy gets to be different, right? If I'm in nurturing, it's going to be like really caring and, it's going to be generating a lot of inspiration and motivation. If I'm in audience building, it's going to be on quite a lot because I will be focusing on what their pain points are, and what I can see out there in the world that's happening right now that's impacting people, and because I can also see it reflected in my own business and I get to be able to share that. Then when you go to like selling is very different because you're totally focused. You're not focused on getting, you're completely focused on giving. So, and I want you to hear that if when you're in selling and you find that you're not converting any sales, ask yourself, are you just more concerned about how many clients you can convert, or are you actually concerned about the value of the content that you're delivering? Because they create different energies. Because in order to be able, if you want to give, then you will receive. If you want to get, what are you really giving? You're only, think about it. Have you ever been on a phone call with somebody and that they want to say something to you, like that there's something deep down that they want to say to you, and you're like, well, you just get to the point, right? You get that vibe. When people are selling, if they're in the getting mode, that's what comes across, is that there is an ulterior motive to why you're here, right? Now, that's not to say that when you're doing an event, of course, you're going to be selling. Of course you are, right? Of course you are. But that doesn't get to be your sole focus. You get to be able to receive the clients coming to you by sharing and giving value. Okay, so let's go back. So how do you accelerate your audience? Focus on one area that your audience are in. I give this tip to everybody because it was game changer for me. Go to sproutsocial.com and find out where your audience live. So know who it is that your audience are. And if you are the person that is saying, well, I sell to everybody, stop it now. Okay. And I mean that from a place of love. Stop it now. Because yes, you may be able to help everybody, but you cannot land the same messaging with everybody. So let's even just take a breakdown from a man and woman point of view. If you're to support a woman going through business, right? And then you support a man going through business, you're going to tackle your messaging in very different ways because of how we think, how we show up, where our focuses are, where our likes, our dislikes are. It's going to be very different. And I can honestly say I would struggle to message to a man because I'm not one. I can ask all the men in my life, how they'd receive this and how they would want to do this. But I would struggle for it to land, and it isn't my focus. Therefore, my messaging is not driven towards men. Do I get inquiries from men? Yes. And I have turned them down because that's not where my focus is. And there's going to be times where my messaging is very much just specific to women, and even sometimes even more specific to that. It could be specific to mums, right? Because I am one. So there's going to be times where there's things that resonate with me and will just not resonate with a man. So know who it is you're targeting, and go on to sproutsocial.com and figure out where they live. And what I mean by that is, do they live on Facebook? Do they live on Instagram? And if they live on Instagram, where on Instagram? Do they live on LinkedIn? Are they on YouTube? Find out where they are, and that is where you target. And then you ramp it up. And I mean ramp it up. It is not sufficient to just put out a post. So like as in like a word post or a quote or anything like that. You've got to show up, and you've got to show up consistently. Now, for anybody that's in the corporate world and they're like, well, I can't do that because I'm working. That's not true. That is not true. It does not take a significant amount of time to show up on social media, plus you can pre-record stuff, right? But you've got to be aware of where your audience live and then show up. And every time you show up, there needs to be an offer, a call to action. So your offer can be book a call with me. Your offer can be respond. Your offer can be I have an event coming up here, join. Your offer can be, do you resonate? But make an offer consistently so that you get used to the call to actions, and you're getting people to engage with you so that you can see who your warm audience is. People are always watching, even those that don't respond, they're always watching. So show up, ramp it up, accelerate it, and focus on there. Just focus on there. And I'm going to give you my own real life example. I was given bad advice when I started, right? So I was told to show up everywhere. So you get a Facebook account, you get an Instagram account, you get a LinkedIn account, you get a Twitter account, and TikTok. I have no desire for TikTok. I don't understand TikTok. I will never go near TikTok. I set up an account and I've never used it because I don't know how to. I don't really care. So why would I focus on there, right? Plus, I know from using sproutsocial.com where my audience live. My audience are on Instagram and LinkedIn. That is where I focus my time and my energy, right there. Now you're like, okay, Joanne, well, you're in a Facebook group right now. Yes, Facebook group is something completely different because it is specific for the business, and I get to talk about whatever I want and support everybody together, right? But my Facebook page, if anybody looks at my Facebook page, I'm not talking about my personal one, I'm talking about the business one. That was set up because I was told to set it up. It's the only reason why it's there. It doesn't get used. Just feck all interaction with it. I'm not going to nurture that because it is not where my audience live. So why would I? It's just staying there. I don't even manage it. It's just there, right? So figure out where your audience are and ramp it up and have a call to action on every single solitary post. You've got to manage your mind around that, because the more visible that you are in front of people, the more they're going to know you. The more they're going to get curious about what it is that you provide, and then they're going to want to know more. So when it actually comes time to you running an event or making an actual offer for your service, people are going to want to buy it. They're going to be curious. They're going to be like, okay, I want to know about that. That's part one. Part two then is, okay, when it comes to actually running events, how do you get people in the door? How do you accelerate that? You start off by knowing your audience, and then you consistently serve. It drives me bananas, right? I hear the same thing on most sales calls, right? Which is, I don't have my website yet. You don't need one, right? Trust me on this. You don't need one. I have had a website for 3 years. I have had a total of 1 person come from it. I don't use it. Will that change over the next few years? Yes, it will, because I've got other stuff coming up and I want to be able to drive traffic to it. But when you're starting, you do not need one. Different if you've got a product, but from a service point of view, you do not need one. What you need is a landing page. So I don't have a website. I want to help everybody. Nobody's buying my services. So they're the same things that I buy, right? And why would anybody buy from me? So this is where you get to accelerate so that you can accelerate your results, because everything is about being elevated. You have got to be in front of your ideal client on a regular basis. If you think that you are being pushy, if you think that, you know, you're too much, if you think that, you know, you're out there all the time and people are just going to get bored of you, that's your stuff. And you're making that all about you. You've got to come from a place of serving always, because we're here to give. If you're giving a service and you're here to give, you're here to provide value. You cannot make it about you. So just know that and check in with yourself and go, okay, is that what I'm doing? Am I actually making it about me? And I guarantee you the answer will be yes, because I did that, right? I made it all about me. And I have this conversation with my clients all the time is, don't make it about you, come from this way, right? Come from the inside out. Make sure that you're always in giving energy, not in getting energy. Because if when you are in front of somebody and your main focus is to make a sale, you're in getting energy. Your main focus needs to be to give. So when it comes to doing masterclasses, and this is particularly for coaches, okay? Don't just do one and then go, oh shit, nobody bought from me, or oh shit, nobody turned up. Do loads. Do one every day if you have to. Do one every week. Let go of your crap around this and keep doing them. Number one, you learn what your skill set is. You learn where you get to open up and develop more. You learn where you get to be vulnerable. You learn where you get to nail it harder. You know where you get to land your messaging more, where you get to be bolder and braver. And you are starting to get visible. Like, think about all the people that you know that are like, you know, famous in the world, from like, say, a business point of view. So whether it's, say, Elon Musk, it's relevant whether or not you like him, right? We'll go with Jamie Oliver, let's go with Gordon Ramsay. It's not about whether or not you like these people, right? Sarah Blakely, Jay Shetty, like just anybody that you can think of, right? They are everywhere, everywhere. We have learned to know about these people because they're everywhere. It is not up to you to decide whether or not somebody likes or dislikes you. That's up to them. And that's not personal about you. You shouldn't be able to speak to everybody, because everybody's going to be at different levels, right? In terms of what they can receive, in terms of what their ability to process information is, in terms of their experiences, how far down a mindset pathway they are, or like, you know, they could be just on a completely different journey. You shouldn't want to speak to everybody because you can't. Like, and just remember as well, there's 7.7 billion people in the world. You only need a fraction of them, like a fraction. And not even a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of them in order to be able to be successful. So in terms of accelerating your results from an event point of view, so your masterclass, your workshop, ramp them up, do them over and over and over and over and over again, so that you can get comfortable doing them, you can get confident doing them, you can get confident doing them, and you're consistently giving value. Where you hone them, that is totally up to you, and where you get to hone them. Then let's move on to your sales. How do you accelerate your results in sales? When you have been doing all the other pieces, right? So as in, you're consistently showing up for your audience and you're not making it about you. You're providing value by sharing events and you're not making it about you. Now, you get to also, remember, go back to the very, very start where I said, plan out your yearly activities. Know what months that you're going to be holding your events and stick to them. So when you're doing all that, by the time you get to make an offer for a sale, you have people curious. You have people really curious. Therefore, they're in. They want to know. They want to know what you're offering. They want to know what you're selling, and they want to buy it. And here's a fun thing about selling that I do wish I knew this when I started. So I'm sharing with you something that I truly wish I knew, and I lean into this consistently. Whenever I make an offer now, for to book a call or for my program, people buy. I don't even worry about that anymore, right? Because I've learned this. Now, what I will say is, when you learn to master this, you have then also got to learn that not everybody is for you. And there's some people that you just won't make offers to, or there's some people that you will turn down. And the reason you will do that is because either they're not willing to do the work, they won't show up for themselves, or they will consistently hold you as the reason why they're not getting the results when they're not taking the coaching, they're not taking your plan, they're not taking your roadmap or whatever it is that you're providing for them to get them the results, right? But you will learn this as you're going. So how do you accelerate your sales results so that it's your ideal person? Like I said, you start off with your audience, you know who it is that you're focusing on, you know where you're focusing them, and then you ramp up your activities, ramp them up. No excuses, just ramp them up, right? Like take off, all about take off. Like my program is called Take Off. So you take off, right? Literally take it off. And in terms of selling, think about how you buy. And this is really important. Think about how you buy. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee now for a second while you think about that. If you're not aware of the psychology around sales, this is a good starting place to go. And if you're curious as to why people don't buy from you, I see it time and time again. And I actually had this conversation with a client earlier on in the week. When you make an offer, right? An offer could be for anything, right? But when you make an offer for something that you're selling and nobody buys, what's your first reaction? If your first reaction is, oh my God, this isn't working, or screw it, and why did nobody buy from me? I'm crap at this, I can't do this. You're being driven by your emotions, but you're also coming from a place of getting. So I've said this a couple of times now throughout this training. You're coming from a place of getting. So remember, you always want to come from a place of giving so that you are able to receive. If anybody hasn't read the book, The Having, read it. Oh my goodness. Love it. Love it. Read it. It's a beautiful book that explains receiving and giving beautifully. So if you have made an offer for a sale and nobody has booked a call or bought your service, and your instant reaction is to just give up, that it just hasn't worked, or you quickly move on to the next event, know that this is a passion for you and it's something that you've got to manage. Because I asked you already to think about how you buy. So let me share how I buy. And when I started to understand this, it was like, oh, gotcha, now I'm in. Because Robert, who's my other half, he buys very differently to me. And this is why this is good to know. Because and I'll give you an example of an event that we were on, and the two of us were both in, but how we went about it was so different. And it's good to know this, because this is how you can accelerate your results, right? So think about how you buy. I make a decision like that, right? So, and I'm very stubborn about it, you won't change my mind, and I hate when somebody tries to deviate my decision. It drives me bananas. You will see the controller in me coming out massively. Cannot stand it. But how I buy is I will make a decision instantly. I might have seen it a few times before I make a decision, but if I see it and I'm in, right? There's no change in my mind. And if I'm in and I get really excited about it, I will share with every single solitary human I know, whether they want to know about it or not, right? So that's how I buy. How Robert buys, I'm going to share an event we were on. So we were on a workshop together, and we weren't doing it, we were attending it. And what the service that was being offered, I had already decided before we hopped on that I was in. I just wanted to get a little bit more of an understanding as to what the logistics of it was going to look like. But I started to get frustrated 15 minutes in because the sale hadn't been, an offer hadn't been made yet. And I'm like, for God's sake, will you just get to the bloody point? I just want to buy, right? Give me the link, just give me the bloody link, right? I'm already in. So they, about 45 minutes in, they made the offer. So I was like, right, buy. I have literally had my card out, so I was ready to go. So I bought. That was grand. Robert was still on the call an hour later because he wanted all of the details, right? All of the details. And I'm like, I couldn't care less. I was already in. I'll get the details when I'm in, right? But he wanted to sit and know every single solitary detail. He read every follow-up email that came after that. I didn't care because I was already in. Get me? So think about how you buy. And I'm sharing this with you for a reason, because it's necessary to understand how your audience are. Not everybody buys how you buy. Therefore, you have got to be open to people's ability to receive, right? So those that are in will be in instantly. Those that are not in will take time. Remember, it takes anywhere between 18 and 14 touch points for somebody to be ready to buy from you. Just because you may have put on the best event of your life and made the best offer does not mean somebody is going to purchase it from you like that. There are some people that want to know the detail. They want to take time to ponder. That is their way of processing information. You don't get to then take that away from them and think that, you know, they're crap and they're not for you because you haven't opened up your mind for it. You get to hold space for them. And this is where follow-up sequences generate incredible amounts of money, when you continue to follow up with somebody after you do events. So this is how you accelerate your results. You don't just make an offer and then run away from it. Even if 2 people bought, still don't run away from it. I've made so much money after events because people continue to buy, because I continue to follow up. You get to do the same. You get to do the same. So let's go back and review this in totality as to how you accelerate your results. First things first, make out a yearly plan. If you have not made out a yearly plan, you are shooting yourself in the foot. Make out a yearly plan and know when you're going to focus on what activities. So your audience generation, your nurturing, which will also include, like, say, your events, and then your selling. Know what they are, know when you're going to do them, and then focus on them. So to elevate your business, to accelerate your results, you've got to focus on them. Do not get shiny object syndrome. Do not be like a magpie where you're going to grab lots of shiny things. Focus, 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 focus. Audience, know who you're targeting, and then find out where they live. And when I say where they live, where do they live on social media, so that you can target that to drive them into your email list. Every day, every single solitary day. Even if you're in the corporate world, you still get to show up every day. You can plan it out in advance. You can record stuff in advance, but make it that you're visible every day. Next thing is, when you're doing events, do them over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. Do 7 in a row if you want. Do not do less than 3 in any 1 month, because you will see less results when you do. And this is for when you're starting out, because you want to be able to elevate what you're doing. So if you're not seeing consistent results right now, lift it up, elevate it up, so that you can take off. Do them over and over and over again until you feel super comfortable with them. Then in terms of to accelerate your sales, after you've done all that, know how you buy and make sure that you have a follow-up sequence for those that are not yet ready to buy, but will be. If they're showing up for you, they're warm. Just remember that. If they're showing up for you, they're warm, and it is your responsibility to help them get across the line. Not to manipulate them into it, not to convince them into it, but to support them in getting across the line. So that is your training for today. And I want you to be able to apply it in your business, and drop questions if you want to answer them, and I'll have a look at them. I'll come back into the chat afterwards, and I will respond to your comments. But your business results are yours to get. They're not for anybody else to get. And you've got to step up and show up how you want to be able to be seen within your business. And it's important to remember, you are the CEO. It's not going to happen for you just because you want it to. You've got to go out there and to create it. But focusing on specific activities at a time will generate results. It always does, because that is where your focus is. And when you're focused, what you focus on grows. Always what you focus on grows. The same way what you resist persists. So focus on where you want to grow and keep your focus on there. Ramp it up. Don't worry about taking up space. Take up space. Take up as much space as you want, and go be successful, because that's what you're here for. So I will see you all next week, and make sure that you get access to the Women Driven to Succeed on Sunday. These women are incredible. Just in case you want a little sneak peek in, we're going to be talking about launch strategies. We're going to be talking about how you move your side hustle into a 6-figure online business. So make sure that you get in there and get access. And we're also going to be talking about imposter syndrome and what are the techniques to actually overcome it and how you can identify it. Because here's a fun fact: high achieving anybody, so high achieving men and women, are the only ones that suffer from imposter syndrome. So if you start questioning whether or not you're good enough, whether or not you can do this, who's going to want to buy from me? You're in good company, because we've all been there. So I will see you next Thursday. For those of you that are joining us on Sunday, I will see you then. Have a great day.